Hi there, friends. My name is Stephen Petasky, and I'm the founder of the Luxus Group, and I want to thank you for being here with us today. This is our second episode on our new YouTube channel with the sole focus on giving you knowledge on buying and owning and selling and vacation renting vacation properties around the world. For us, this is our passion, and if you want to know more about who we are and what we do, please go to the first episode. During that show, we talk about our history, the 15 years of buying assets and selling and developing and renting, and it has really given us this amazing amount of knowledge that we want to share with you for free today and on through the future episodes of this show. For us, this is purely about giving you tools so you can make the best decision for your family on whatever it may mean for you. Now, the Luxus Group, we have launched all sorts of products over the past 15 years. And through that time, we have educated lots of individual clients from our group on buying their own second home. So part of one of the tools that we've had over that time is what I have in front of me here called the Sophisticated Traveler's Guide to Vacation Investment. This tool is free to you. If you are interested in grabbing it, getting a hold of it, ping us. We'll put a link in the show notes and we'll send it your way. And its purpose is to show you the various options available on the spectrum of vacation home ownership. Now, we think about what the spectrum means. I'll give you the full rundown. You got one side here is owning your own second home. So that's all the responsibility and all the joy that comes with owning your own property. And the complete other side is just using vacation homes or using hotels. So call them disposable vacations, one-off experiences for your family. What most people are unaware of is all the really wonderful options that are stuck in the middle. Fractional ownership, private residence clubs, private co-ownership. And today we'll talk about some of these options at a high level, and in future episodes we'll do a deeper dive on each individual one and give you specific options that you could potentially pursue. Again, for us, this is just about curiosity. If you're curious about different ways your family could travel, then watch the rest of the show because I think you'll find it very informative. Now, before we dive into the spectrum, it's really important to identify your personal family's motivators as it relates to vacationing. Are you the type of family that wants to have your own space and have your underwear in the drawer and your toothbrush there and the same bed linens? Or are you someone that's interested in variety and size and different types of exotic experiences? Are you someone that wants familiarity and comfort and consistency? Or do you like the adventure that comes along with uncertainty in traveling the world? So when you look at your various motivators, depending upon what fits for you, one of these different segments and choices along the spectrum will potentially be better off for your family. With that, let's kick off with the very first one. The easiest one is hotels and vacation rentals. I'm not going to talk a lot about hotels. You know what they are, you know what they mean to you. Their number one benefit they have is consistency and familiarity. For people that like hotels or people that want to ensure that when they show up, the experience is exactly what they have come to expect to receive through either their online booking or because they've experienced it in the past before. You take amazing hotel brands like Fairmont and Four Seasons and Belmont. Doesn't matter where you travel in the world, you know what you're going to get. So if you love that aspect of it, then definitely continue to pursue that way as a mechanism for your travel because it will never disappoint if that's what you love. For our family, and you would have heard this in the first episode, is that's how we used to travel. And then we made a shift to vacation homes, and we'll talk a bit about that later, when we found for us, a motivator at the time for our family was we needed size. My son was born, we were gonna have a second one on the way pretty soon, and we just realized staying in a hotel wasn't much fun anymore. In fact, as much as I love my children, it stole the joy out of traveling in hotels. And for us, our motivator shifted on that evolution of our journey into wanting more space. So we looked at vacation rentals. Vacation rentals are great through the same context as hotels, as you can one-off them. You can rent a vacation home, use it, and walk away from it and never have to see it again, or you can rebook it at some point down the road. Vacation rentals, though, have come a long way since when our family was initially traveling in 2007 through to today, where there's a much higher degree of consistency on the experience you're going to get. That's completely due to the disruption caused by Airbnb and other platforms like that that have established a model of consistency amongst all their properties. Now, it's not the same as a hotel, simply because there's no singular landlord at Airbnb or other vacation rental platforms. There's multiple landlords, so standards can only go so far. But your vacation rentals have the benefit of size. Multiple bedrooms create more memories with more people. So for us, that was very, very important. We end up pursuing another model down, private co-ownership. But for someone that wants that disposable experience with a high degree of consistency, but not fully consistent, vacation rentals are a great option. There's lots of platforms out there to explore: Airbnb, luxury retreats, VRBO. VRBO's come a long way from what it was 15 years ago to an improved overall experience. And we won't really talk about these shows about different vacation rentals. It's not our business. We're on the equity side of the equation. But if that's what you love, there are some really good platforms out there to find whatever adventure you're looking for. Now, moving one step over, we're into timeshares. Timeshares isn't quite equity because you actually don't own bricks and mortar of that particular asset. Instead, you own deeded time. For timeshares, probably the number one motivator for someone looking at this is if they have a high desirability to have a consistent time period every single year. Because when you buy time, you're buying a week or 2 weeks in a specific slot on that particular year that you can use in perpetuity. So maybe you're a teacher and you want to have the same week every summer going forward because that's your career, and you want to ensure you're not competing for that time with other properties. That's where timeshares become a really good fit. We don't specialize in timeshares, so we won't go any much more deeper into what it actually means, but what we encourage you to do is a lot of research. Timeshares do have a tendency to depreciate a lot quicker simply because there's a very high commissionable aspect to timeshares. There are high pressure sales tactics due to those high commissions, not everywhere. And I want to paint it with that brush because there are some world-class brands that do timeshares now, and they do a remarkable job at it. They provide the consistency, and even though it is a timeshare, you don't own the real estate, they've done a much better job on preserving capital investment up front. So for timeshares, do your research, find an option that's right for you. It's a low barrier to entry in terms of overall capital, and in a lot of cases, you can get a really great experience. Now, we're in the middle of the spectrum. In the middle of the spectrum is what we call the club industry. So it's interesting because it kind of falls on both sides of this non-equity and this full equity model. Now, I'm going to generalize here. There's lots of different clubs out there that provide very unique, different amenities that suit different needs and different types of travelers. But I'll cover two kind of brands around them. Brand number one are destination clubs, and brand number two are private residence clubs. We'll start with destination clubs, or DCs. Destination clubs became popular in the early 2000s, and the concept at the time was real estate was increasing substantially between 2000 and 2006. And what people were looking for is a way to invest into a vacation property, but more through a fractional basis. Instead of buying one home for $3 million, maybe I can buy 1/8 of a home for a much smaller amount. The concept was great and continues to be a very popular method of travel. The difference is with a club is in most cases you don't actually own equity. So your membership deposit often is either non-refundable, which means you'll never get it back, or in some cases there's a certain portion of a refundable deposit that comes back to you upon exit. Clubs generally don't have the liquidity to buy people out on demand, so if you're looking to exit a club, you'll have to understand the rules around that. Every club has their own different set of rules, so I won't get into all the various aspects, but if you're looking to join a destination club, understand that aspect of what it means to enter the club, how much of your deposit is refundable, and what it means if you actually choose to exit it. From a lifestyle perspective, there are a few brands in the world that do a remarkable job, world-class experience, both from the amenities. The amenities are, in fact, amazing single-family homes around the world, and the service component, having concierge and making it a hassle-free journey for you and your family. So if that's what you're looking for, I would explore destination clubs. Think variety, but think consistency. Now, PRCs, or private residence clubs, are very similar to destination clubs, but they're in a singular destination. So it would be one community, for example, let's say in Cabo San Lucas, or Scottsdale, or Tuscany. And within that, you would have 5 properties, or 10, or 15, or 20 properties, and you buy a membership within that particular community, and you would have exclusive rights to time within that community. You wouldn't have the variety that comes along with that you get at a destination club, but you get the consistency. Some of them are run by world-class brands that take amazing care of the properties, and you get, if that's a favorite destination for you and your family, you can go back to it every single year. PRCs have really grown in popularity as people are looking to have that consistent standard, but not necessarily looking to invest substantial capital in an upfront individual single-family vacation home. When I look at clubs overall, I think it's a great option for people looking for that really high-end luxury lifestyle aspect, and we'd be happy to share with you some options that exist in the industry when you see this sophisticated traveler's guide, or just ping us directly and we'll make some connections for you. Now, we'll move into the full equity side of the equation. So when I say equity, it is what you assume it to be. You are buying a piece of an asset or an asset entirely yourself. So you are tied to the risks and rewards of that particular asset. We'll kick off the first one with fractional ownership. Fractional ownership, many of you have probably heard about. It became popular about 25 years ago. Aspen, Colorado was a great city, an example of where it grew. Thinking back to that time, Aspen was a very popular, and it remains to be one of the most popular ski destinations in the world. As a result, it became very high priced, and it priced a lot of people out of that market who really wanted to enjoy it. That's when developers got creative. They said, okay, well, if a person can't afford a $5 million home, maybe I can fractionalize it. I can split it into multiple shares where now people can own an individual share and they can share the time accordingly. So what ultimately evolved was fractional deeded ownership. When we say deeded, it's important to understand this concept because it means something that in most cases you can actually list it and sell it on an MLS or a second home exchange the same way real estate would be traded versus trying to look for a club member to take over your position. So the deeded aspect is kind of a key component of understanding fractional ownership. In the case of Aspen, it worked very well and has now been replicated through many markets. Usually in most cases, it's markets that are priced quite high. Markets that it's a high barrier to entry for a family to buy an asset. And in a lot of cases, there are destinations that are seasonal. Because a neat concept that exists with fractional ownership is that because you own a piece at a time, so let's just say that in a typical fractional would be 13 deeded shares at 4 weeks each equals 52 weeks. I now have 4 weeks a year as a 1/13th owner of that particular asset. Now what does that mean to me? I can't take all 4 weeks in the Christmas, New Year's, and the peak ski season, or all 4 weeks in the summer. Generally it means you get one spring, one fall, one summer, one winter, and you rotate Christmas and New Year's and spring breaks in those peak seasons. So if your motivator is a low barrier to entry, but having a really nice product, this can be a great fit. If your motivator is flexibility, this might be hard because you fall into a very specific program, and each fraction is slightly different how they organize it, but you are sharing with 13 other people or 3 other people, or it could be 52 other people technically, which means you're not going to get your exact time slot every single year, just a fact. But if you have flexibility in your schedule and can be able to accommodate lots of different times, it can be a remarkable fit, and I believe will continue to grow in popularity as well, simply because of the market we're in today, the pricing that exists, and people are looking for that lower barrier to entry on capital invested. Now, sliding one step adjacent, we move into private co-ownership. Very similar concept to fractional and also destination clubs, but the difference is in these private co-ownership models, usually it's a singular entity that owns the assets that exist within that fund, but you own a piece of the entity, not the actual assets themselves. So you are de facto an equity owner of the fund as a whole, and thereby the real estate that it owns, but you don't own a singular property. This is actually what we do, and there's several other players in the world that do this particular model. It's a great way if you want the best of both worlds as it relates to variety and experience and consistency that comes with destination clubs. In fractional ownership, where you actually have an equity interest in particular property or properties. So within this guide, we explain it and share some of the options that exist in the industry. We could talk about this one for hours, and maybe at a later episode we will, because we're very passionate about it. But for now, let's do one more shift over into second home ownership. You'll see as this channel evolves, the majority of our focus is going to be on buying your own second home. These other options are amazing, and we will have episodes dedicated to understanding them. But the primary premise of this is education, specifically around owning your own second home. You may choose to share it with someone, or buy it with someone, or rent it. Each motivator and purpose will be a bit different. But in the case of understanding how to do it and your options available to you is our key goal. Sole ownership is what it sounds like. You own it by yourself or with other people. It's very, very easy concept. It happens millions of times every year around the world, and so we won't have to dive into the mechanics of it today. The motivator, though, specifically for sole ownership, is you want to have your own space. You want to ensure that you can leave all your own toys, fun stuff, your family pictures on the wall, whatever it may be, and that is one of the ultimate and unique benefits of owning your own second home, and of course, the flexibility to go when you want. The cons are obvious. You have 100% of the risk capital yourself, so you don't share it with anyone. You have 100% of the operating costs and everything that comes along with that. But for a lot of people, that's a small price to pay for all the wonderful aspects of owning your own second home. That is the spectrum. Now, hopefully it gives you a bit of intel on the various options that exist within our industry that go beyond kind of the traditional mechanisms of travel within the vacation space. If you're interested in learning more about this, again, ping us and we'll share with you the Sophisticators Traveler's Guide. And if you're just curious about what one of the segments might mean, what it may mean to you and your family, connect with us as well. We're happy to make some introductions to relationships in those industries to help you find the best fit overall. Hopefully today you enjoyed the episode. Obviously, I have a great deal of passion about the space, and I hope that came through today on the show. Thank you very much for being here. If you think this might be important for someone else to know, it would mean the world to me if you shared it. This is the only way we're going to achieve ROI of helping people if the world gets out. So please share it. Thanks again for your time. I look forward to seeing you on the next show.